Welcome to Phil and Bob's Treehouse.
The Central Park trees covered in snow. Over the Hudson, the sunset glow. The smell of halal and jasmine rice. Creep on the corner, don't look so nice. Now he's pooping, why I don't know. Life's full of mysteries, now it's time for the show.
Hi, I'm Phil.
Hi, I'm Bob.
We live in New York City, home to the highlights, the lowlights, and everything in between. This is our take on the human carnival.
Hi, Phil.
Hey, Bob. We're back.
Yep, another episode. Despite many court orders, they can't stop us.
Well, it's a new episode, a new week,
Yeah.
and we have a lot of exciting things to discuss.
Mm-hmm. Let's just dive right in. Okay. And if it's mildly racist, it's fine.
Okay, good, because this one might be a little.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
It's not racist, actually. It's about one one nation.
Yes.
in the Asian continent that we've been thinking about.
Yeah. Well, I would say I'm thinking about this because I was cooking something the other day, and first of all, it's like from a Thai cookbook. It's some restaurant in L.A.
Yep.
And it's a pretty good book. And I was just reading the head note. You know, all these recipes have like little notes before they get into the actual recipe.
I've never cooked a recipe.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, it's always just filler nonsense. But anyway, the guy's like, this should take you like 20 minutes.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, no sweat. And then there's not that many ingredients. But all the ingredients, unless you live like in the heart of New York City.
Yep.
Or like fucking some major metropolitan area.
Yeah.
Like you'll never be able to find this shit. A, and B, the cutting alone takes like an hour and a half. Not an hour and a half. But
chopping?
Like the chopping. Like there's lemongrass and you know, kaffir lime leaves. And you need to get some dried coconut. And you need to, then a side element of this is these like spiced peanut things you need to make. And like, that's a whole separate, like you got to fry that and mix it with these a bunch of other stuff, ingredients. The whole thing is a process, is my point, I guess. So good thing, I live like 2 blocks from my new favorite market.
Yeah, what's it called?
HMart. Have you heard of it?
Yes. Excuse me. HMart is a Korean owned business. It was actually, I'll give you some history. Back when, before white people used to go there, there was a flagship store in New Jersey. It was called Hanadam. Okay. Which is obviously, you can't even say that. Try to say it right now.
Hanadam.
you don't have to put that inflection in there.
Okay.
It's but obviously white people can't say that, so they sold out, and now they're called HMart.
Oh, is the original one called HMart too?
Well, the original store, and then they had more Hanadams in different neighborhoods that had a lot of Asians. Yeah, and then they realized that they could really compete with the big boys, and so they rebranded as HMart. So all of them across the nation. I think there's like hundreds of them.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah,
there's like 5 in New York.
I know, it's great. That's what's crazy to me now. Like, I mean, when I was little, I remember like, oh God, like the weekend included going to the one Korean grocery store in the tri-state region. Yeah. It was like an hour drive.
No, this thing, first of all, it's like a nice market. It's not huge, but they have like everything
all the
you
Korean
need.
Americans now, they stand on my shoulders. And
okay.
I blaze the path. I'm like the Rosa Parks.
Yeah. I consider they should have a national holiday.
They should.
For you.
Yes.
It's the equivalent to not getting up from your seat on the bus.
To fight. Yeah, I didn't really have to fight. I mean, although once at my church, I was called the C word. It rhymes with rank.
By who?
By a group of youths. Oh, when I was a youth.
Oh no.
Yeah. That was the extent of my racism.
It's all character building.
Yep.
But anyways, what I was going to say is that HMart, like if you haven't been there, it's a nice market, and they have like all kinds of vegetables and stuff, not just Asian stuff. But if you happen to be making an Asian like recipe, And not just like, Korean or something. It's like they have like dumpling wrappers. They have all kinds of like noodles, all kinds of, and like vegetables and all the stuff you need in like probably like 15 different like kinds of cuisines, like Asian cuisine.
Yeah.
And it's all like neatly organized and all that stuff.
I know. Ethnic people are good with the produce, I think. Fresh produce.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a freaking nice place, and, it's all staffed by, like, Mexicans, like, stocking the thing, but behind the scenes are the Koreans pulling the strings.
Yeah.
But making it nice. Anyway, so I'm super glad that it happens to be in my new neighborhood, so I could just pop over there and grab these, relatively obscure ingredients.
Is it in the space by where the Japanese supermarket was? The Sunrise Mart, or it's a different one?
No, it's different space. Oh. But what I was thinking the other day, I was also, because maybe before I had discovered HMart or moved here to this sort of neighborhood, I would have gone to Chinatown because first of all, that's a little farther for me. And it's also, I also think that it's a less pleasant shopping experience. Let's put it that way. For those of you who haven't been to New York Chinatown in a while, it's relatively unsavory.
Yeah, it's crowded.
Crowded.
In the summertime, the smell. I mean, because there's all this fish markets too, especially on like Elizabeth.
Oh man,
a little north of Canal.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts. Like the fish markets. Like I used to go walk around there. Somewhere when the weather was warmer. Yeah. They have fish like out. It's sort of on, like they sort of threw it on ice at like 8 a.m.
Yeah.
By like 10, it's like fish sitting in just like warm water.
Yeah.
And like some of the things that are supposed to be alive, like these like crabs or something, and they look like they're just like diseased and it's not good. And then you look down the street, there's like a little thing with toads and stuff in them. It's just like, and everything, but in general, and the market itself, like where you would go to find something, it's like, it's not nice.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know. I
feel like I have to take everything home and have to wash it like 50 times.
Yeah. I mentioned this in our prior episode, but yeah, you mentioned the toads.
Yeah.
If you go to these fish stores, to our listeners in Kansas City and Cincinnati, when you go to China and you're at a fish market, look for like a garbage can that has a lid on it and lift it up.
Yes.
And you'll have the shock of your life.
Yeah, so anyway, I don't really make any racial generalizations, but I got to say the HMart pretty nice. The Chinatown market less so.
Yeah.
If you have an explanation.
I can't lie and say I'm not. I feel nice when people recognize that the Koreans, we invented Squid Games, and our pop culture is exported throughout the globe.
Yes.
And we run a tight ship in terms of supermarkets. Chinatown is just a bit more free-flowing. Yeah,
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I feel like. There's a lack of. It's almost like they're not inspected or something.
Yeah, it's like the Wild West. And how I would describe it is, it's kind of like imagine Gangs of New York, the Marty Scorsese film.
Yeah.
But like everybody's just Chinese and there's no rules. And like people are just like, you'll like walk by a store and there'll be a pig's head hanging there.
No, I mean, it's shocking with no refrigeration.
Yes.
Like it's shocking that they're not just shut down. And I don't know the reason for it. Everybody looks unhappy and just like they don't want to be there and they don't want whatever you do, you're an imposition on them.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it's like that.
Yeah.
But it is.
And it's like, it's also weird though. They shut down right at like 5 or 6 o'clock. They don't stay late.
The Chinese markets?
Yeah. Chinese markets. If you notice, Chinatown's done at like 6 p.m.
I see. Yeah, no, I never noticed that.
It's like, it reminds me of, it's like a Jewish Orthodox Jewish neighborhood. Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. I've noticed that they come early. They got the fruits and vegetables and the fish and everything, and then by dinner time they're done. It's like it's not a late night scene.
It also might be like partially like a volume thing. Like maybe it's harder to maintain quality control when there's so many people just like running around throwing shit around versus like HMart is a little more civilized.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the selling in Chinatown also just seems like unregulated and off book. Like the fruit people.
It's so cheap.
Yeah, the fruit people on Canal.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm convinced that most of the stuff is just stolen.
Yeah.
Like just fell off the truck.
Yeah. I was just there yesterday and there was some lady selling blueberries, and it was like 2 huge things for $8. Like, and it said organic on it. And I think the loyal listeners know I'm a Costco member. Those look like the Costco blueberries.
Oh, really?
I think that either someone went and bought them at Costco and like on super sale, or like I don't know how they were making a profit. Or the only thing that made sense is these were either expired or they stole them.
Yeah. No, I suspect there's also. Does the Chinese gang
I don't think they exist
operate?
anymore. No, that was like 1970s films.
Because I always suspect there's a lot of like underhanded mob stuff going on.
No, the only underhanded thing they're doing is invading us with TikTok.
Oh, that's true. And COVID.
Yeah. Well, speaking of COVID, also, I mean, I don't want to generalize, but I was walking down the street in Chinatown, and this guy just hocked a loogie right there. He was like, he let it out. And look, I am trying to be understanding, empathetic, try not to be a cultural imperialist.
Yeah.
Although I would say I'm walking in the land where I was born.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this guy's just hocking up some saliva and phlegm on the street.
Yeah.
And I feel like that, and it's not racism, because I can tell you go to Korea and Japan, I don't think you see that as much.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
And don't get me wrong, some of my best friends are Chinese.
Yeah. Okay.
I have Chinese friends, but they're the good ones. You know what I'm talking about? They're one of the good ones.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah. So I guess you stop going to Chinatown.
I don't go to Chinatown since farther, and this HMart thing is really quite fantastic. Quite a fantastic addition to my existence.
Well, I'm glad.
So thank you to Mr. and Mrs. HMart, or whoever that is.
Yeah, I don't even know what hanada means. My parents would be disappointed. Really? It's probably like a proper noun or something.
But that was the only market of this kind?
Like once upon a time, yeah. Like, I mean, there were... like I remember, like my parents, to get like Asian supplies, we used to have to go to a Japanese supermarket, and it was like kind of far away.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just a drag. If I happened to be in the car when that thing was going down.
But so then, and was this in Fort Lee?
The original hot item?
Yeah, isn't that the Korean area?
I don't know if it was Fort Lee. It was definitely one of those some area over there. So whatever.
All right, well, that's HMart news, and hopefully our listeners, if you live near an HMart, I guess,
go check it out.
Equivalent.
Okay, so go. Tell her put on 95, she thought I was on Dame. Like I'm making noodles, we gon' burn them. I'm off a 30 at the same house. Tell her put on 95, I ain't on Dame. Like I'm making noodles, we gon' burn them, much rain. I be in the hood, it's like I ain't even famous. I think I'm a lion, damn I need a man. Why the fuck she lying, this bitch ain't even my man. Sweeter than papaya, this shit ain't even my lane. On the day and Ryan, do 100 in that thing. I told 50s and 100s when I'm on the block with my friends. We got choppers and Glocks and FNs. I spend lots, I go shop with the bins. Hit the lot, I might cut me a...
Hi, Phil.
Bob.
Yeah.
So listen, last week, this is a little more personal.
Okay, open up.
Okay.
Well, I'm being sincere. What are you laughing?
Yeah. Last week, if you recall, I went to the Strand, and no. I brought up a book I just finished, and I was annoyed because I don't like reading a book. I should probably just put it down, but I have an obsessive problem, and I feel like I have to finish it. And
or else something bad's gonna happen.
But so I read this novel that I picked up in the store.
Title, author?
It was called, the author was, I said this last week, it was Susan, and I don't know how to say her last name, it was Minot, and she's pretty well known, as far as I know, and it's called, It's called Call Me Back or something. Don't lose my number.
Oh, I remember.
It
was about this woman spiraling because some guy wouldn't text her back or get in touch with her.
Yeah. She wanted a more of a relationship, and he didn't. And it was not a good book, in my view.
Okay.
Novel. And so that is annoying because reading a book is an investment in time, and especially if you have an obsessive problem. and you can't put it down. So that's even more time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like a shit, like, you know, one of those like airport books, novels.
Yeah.
It was like a $25 hardcover.
Yeah.
That I bought in a reputable bookstore.
Yeah. So you were tricked by the jacket cover or what?
I don't know. I think I was. It was a combination. It looked like a classy read.
Yeah.
And not just some like a trashy, you know, paperback.
Yeah.
That and it was just, and the writing was so bad, and it was full of just terrible.
How do people like this get published? This is what I don't understand.
Well, that's a whole other issue, I guess.
I know.
I mean, and she's made a living for a long time as a writer. And so
I feel like writers don't make much these days.
I think that she's definitely like, you know, supported herself.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard of her, and
Yeah.
you know, how many really?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the only ones who make money are like the Grishams and the Stephen Kings.
Well, they
and
make
stuff.
a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
People like this, I think she's made like a steady living. You know,
She's probably got a rent control co-op.
it was just anyway. So I happened to be in the Strand the other day, and I saw that book sitting on one of the front tables.
Yep.
Which is, you know, a big placement product for a bookstore. And there was a little like a notice on the main book that she's coming to the Strand next week, and to discuss this very book, this novel.
Okay.
In like the third floor reading room or something, and you can sign up for tickets. It's like $5. So that really got my system going.
Because you felt this author had defrauded you out of $25?
I literally was standing in the Strand, and I started getting like angry. And I started having these imaginary, running these scenarios in my head.
Yeah.
Of confronting this person.
Yeah.
at a said panel discussion.
Yeah.
Over specific terriblenesses of her book.
Okay.
And confronting her on specific, questioning her on choices that she had made.
Like plot devices?
All kinds of stuff.
Character development?
Just the last literally like 40 pages of the book, the character, I don't want to bore you, but the character has like a 10-year-old son or something who gets tonsillitis. Yeah. So she takes him to the doctor, and they take the tonsils out. The last 40 pages of the book are basically apparently like the suture didn't hold. So the kid started bleeding or something. Yeah. So she freaked out, went to the emergency room. That's the whole last part of the book. It's like a tale of just. It was a routine emergency room visit and dealing with doctors, and it was so meaningless. Did
the kid die or something?
No, it was fine.
Are you sure there's not some metaphor you're missing? There's some symbolism.
There's no literary value to any of it.
Yeah.
And that actually was that was probably not even the worst part of the book.
Yeah.
Anyway, so but the more important thing in this context was my reaction to imagining to her visit next week.
Yeah, like you were just like an angry outburst.
I immediately started feeling like I'm gonna accost her.
You're gonna ruin her day.
She thinks she's coming to this bookstore for like just a panel talk about her book, and I don't know what people ask. I've never been to one of these things. Yeah, I don't know what you ask at a panel.
I don't know, man. If you're taking if you're measuring your self-worth by the adulation you get at a book reading at the Strand on a random Tuesday night, I don't know, man.
But you don't think that? Do you think that the bigger issue for me would be? First of all, do you think that she is expecting a hostile reader?
No. Listen, I don't mean to judge, but I think your reaction is probably just sort of on one end of the spectrum in terms of, most people would just be like, ugh, that was a waste. Maybe go try to press the book nicely and get a refund. Claim that it was a gift. Yeah. But maybe leave her a bad review on Amazon or something like that.
Well, that's what people do these days, and Yelp. But I live like 2 blocks away from this place. If this was like I had to drive an hour to get there, I wouldn't do it. Yeah. I have the opportunity to go and confront this woman who is not a good writer and really made me annoyed.
Yeah. Well, you could. I mean, I guess then there's a way to just say that, what was this ending all about? Like, it was Like, I didn't really enjoy
The whole
this.
thing was terrible.
Maybe you could ask her for a refund. I mean, she wouldn't give it to you, but it would actually. I don't know. She'd probably go home to her husband tonight and be like, I had an interesting interaction today.
But do you think I would come off as like crazy?
Yeah. I mean, to actually then pay an additional $5 to a college. Most people would just let that go.
But I mean, you think someone going to that kind of thing would be a fan?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or some.
But why would you not be a hater?
I guess maybe some people. I mean, you could go and be a hater. I mean, typically those people are like assassins. Right? Like I could picture. Was it like Hinckley?
Yeah.
What, John David Hinckley or was it Ed Hinckley?
Who shot
John Lennon?
Oh, Mark David Chapman.
Oh, that Mark David Chapman.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hinckley was the one that shot Reagan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fellow who
Hinckley
shot.
was Chapman was a fan, I guess, like a deranged
fan.
Yeah.
It's like you're such a fan that you shoot someone. It's kind of crazy.
But I'm not a fan. Oh, so you think that she? Well, I don't know. But if you write a book, I feel like you should expect negative feedback.
Yeah, I mean, in the form of a written a review.
Not some lunatic.
Not some
who
lunatic
shows up
who shows up on the Tuesday night. But listen. I want to give you some positive feedback in terms of. I'm assuming you haven't acted on this impulse.
No,
and then you're just to buy the ticket and go and harass her.
No, it's next week anyway, so I still have.
So
time.
you still have a week to be crazy. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know, man. It's your time, and I think if there's a constructive way for you to approach this lady and just be like, "What was this nonsense?"
Well, the thing is, I would want to go, except this is also touched some issue. I've always had problems with confrontation. Just to go deeper, I don't like. I want to go and confront this person, but when it comes down to it, in person, I'm not good at it. I don't. I know that I would not get the nerve.
Okay.
So maybe it would be like an exercise in like exposure therapy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, one could argue also, I mean, this is just like a random author that's barely in your life. That maybe the confrontation, exposure and all that should be in the people that are in your life day to day.
No, I know.
That have more meaningful interactions with you.
But it would be like, like if this were like, if I went to a therapist now for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they would be like, okay, you have to do these 5 exercises. One of them is to go and confront.
Oh yeah, like you start with
saying?
maybe like it's a safe person to confront because it's not someone that you are interacting with on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's true. Or just someone so you feel comfortable expressing your anger.
Yeah, or expressing negative opinion.
Right. That's the thing. I that's another issue. I blur the line sometimes.
Yeah.
Like negative opinion.
Yeah.
Can bleed into anger.
Yeah.
And I guess
you're coming off as a serial killer now.
But you know what? I used to go to revisit some old we did an episode about my dealing with obsessive compulsive issues.
Yes.
And I used to go to a group therapy for this years and a long time ago. And the people it was the kind of thing like that. The lady would give these people exercises. Like there was a woman in my group there who was, I remember she had a fear of going to the Upper West Side.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was odd. It was unusual.
That sounds made up.
I don't know, but one of her things was like the exposure thing was okay to go up there.
Had she been attacked up there?
We didn't get into the
reasons why.
Reasons for things, if there are any. Mm-hmm. But I feel like this is the kind of thing that if I were back in that group, this therapist would be like, this is not an obsessive thing, but if I went to an anger management workshop or something, they'd be like, okay, go to the bookstore and deal with this person in a rational way.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
And shoot her.
Yeah.
And it'll be on the front of the post.
Just to be clear, I think Phil is joking now. In a week after this is posted, if shit has gone down, I had fucking nothing to do with this.
It's like madman madman guns down.
Right now, I'm looking at his demeanor and overall character suggests that he is joking, and that is how I'm taking this.
No, I'm not going to go to this thing. I'm sure.
Yeah, that would be a waste of time.
But
Unless for some reason you thought that you needed to practice, I don't know, being negative or
no.
No.
But I'm not going to go, but I didn't like the book. And let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's clear.
Yes.
That
Okay.
you did not like this book by something Minot.
Susan Minot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe I'll just go and listen.
Well, you know what? I mean, if this life was like a dramedy on TV, you would go and then you would say something like, what was this shit ending with the tonsillitis? And she would actually explain to you what it meant.
Yes.
And you would be changed by that. There would be some
That's
meaningful
true. We would have like a nice congenial back and forth.
Yeah. And somehow you'd end up getting invited to her house to a dinner.
Why don't you come over and we'll talk about it further?
And she mentors you and helps you write your first novel. There you go. We've written the first 30 pages of a script for Hollywood.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess on our next episode, you'll find out if I win or not, I guess.
Okay.
If I go, though, I'm going to record it.
Okay, you should do that. I mean, that's as crazy as the rest of what you were planning to do. So that tracks.
Yeah.
All right. Good luck.
Okay.
Paperback writer. Based on a novel by a man named Lear, and I need a job, so I want to be a paperback writer. Paperback writer. It's a dirty story of a dirty man that his clinging wife doesn't understand. His son is working for the Daily Mail. It's a steady job, but he wants to be a paperback writer. Paperback writer.
Okay,
let's bring this home.
I had a. How do you feel about conspiracies?
Conspiracy theories?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really. I'm not a big conspiracy nut.
Yeah.
I maybe you are though.
No.
Okay.
But I had a thought the other day walking around, and I've had this thought before
about the lizard people.
Who are they?
You know, the secret lizard people that run the U.S. economy, along with the Pope
and the Jews
and Colonel Sanders.
Well, actually, I've had this thought, before, it just again sprang up when I was walking on the street and there was a construction site, and I saw these guys like they had dug up the street.
Yeah, it happens a lot in New York City.
Yeah, and they were pulling up a pipe or something. So there was like 15 guys, and they made a big giant hole in the pavement.
There were 14 guys staring at the hole and one guy in the hole, right? I mean, that's universal to listeners in Kansas City or San Diego or wherever.
Right.
That is a common perception about public works.
Yes, that they're inefficient.
Yep. It's not like the good old days. When we was young, FDR got us employed, and it was the New Deal.
An honest day's work.
An honest day's work, and we put this nation back on its feet.
Well, I don't know. I maybe since, I watched The Sopranos or something, but I always have a sneaky suspicion that, and there's a lot of these construction gigs going on in the city.
Oh, there's been one outside my apartment.
Every 2 blocks.
They've had something outside my apartment for the last year.
Okay,
I don't know what they're doing.
Now that you mention it, so my daughter used to go to this gymnastics place downtown. So the whole street, the cross street was like church and something else. I can't remember where the other one was, but like that street. Right where the cross street was a giant hole, and you saw all the pipes and all that shit, and it was like it was like hundreds of feet long and like 50 feet wide, the width of a street.
Yep.
And it stayed like that for like 2 years, and no one's working there. They parked there like their forklifts or steamrollers and stuff,
excavators
and all that shit. They're like jackhammers, and it just sat there. and the whole street was blocked up. Like, I feel like, so anyway, getting back to my thing, is just, do you think that it's possible that a percentage of these jobs going on all over the place are just basically what they're doing is digging a hole and messing around and just filling it up again for no reason?
Yeah, I mean,
and charging the city.
Yes, I think a lot of it is make work. I mean, if you think about, not to get too technical here, but if you think about the concept of using, government spending to pump up the GDP, right? You hire a lot of workers and you buy, you buy capital goods, and you do some digging, and maybe you futz around and you pay a bunch of guys for 6 months, and they like stand around a hole and fix like a little crack in like one of the pipes, right? But I think the larger aim isn't necessarily like people being efficient or the pipe itself, but taking that money and stimulating the economy by giving it to these goons.
Goons.
Yeah, because they give you a dirty look as you're driving by because they know they're ruining your day, and they seem to revel in it.
I mean, they hire like 3 people to hold a stop sign and a flag.
That's the best job. When they make the 2-lane road into one, and one guy stands at one end and the other, and they radio each other, and it either says stop or slow.
No, I mean, you could be in a car on like 20th Street and crawling in traffic, and you're like, what's going on? And the real problem is literally down in like the Bowery. Because it's like back down there's a guy narrowing it to one lane.
I know. It is amazing
for no reason.
How one double parked car could put like 20 square blocks of New York City on lockdown.
And that's why I think that's the Uber problem. Because like Ubers, like they literally someone could call an Uber and there's like an actual spot available on like a parking spot they could just slide into and wait for the customer, and they don't do that. They just stand, they just say stop.
All right, listen, this is the lowest form of New York podcast is when you talk about traffic, but
that's true.
But calling back to your
the conspiracy thing?
Calling back to rage and confrontation. When I see when I'm in traffic and it starts to clear up and I see it's because one guy parked to get a donut. Talk about rage and confrontation. If I had a machine gun in the front of my car, I would actually turn it on. I would be like, blow this guy. I would maybe stop short of killing the person, but if the guy was outside his car, I would destroy his car and drive on.
No, it's annoying. It's amazing that kind of thing doesn't happen more often.
And it's actually rude, and it's not, it's not in the spirit of living in a city. Like, pretend it's a community, All right, sorry, I'll stop.
That's all right. No, but that was the only thought I had about the construction things. I'm sure that maybe, civic improvements are required here and there. But like, there's no way that at that rate, that they need to like dig up. I think it's overcharging.
Yeah, and also it takes like 10 years to do like a real change. Like I feel like on the Deegan, it's been like 10 years, like by Yankee Stadium where they're doing I feel like by the time they finish, they'll need to redo it again.
Oh, and by the way, speaking of construction, I'm lucky I survived my life. I was walking under a scaffolding. That's another pet peeve, scaffolding in the city. And first of all, last week the temperatures were very low.
Yes.
You recall that?
It was an Arctic chill.
And so I feel bad. It's actually one of the more amazing things that they look like they're Mexicans or they're Latin Americans, these guys who put up the scaffolding.
Yeah.
And it's insane that first the weather, it was like 5 degrees. And they were putting up in front of like the Best Buy around the corner here.
Yeah.
And I walked under it, and I was like, "Holy shit! This thing's gonna fall on my head."
What?
Because it was like a metal iron girder that probably weighed like 400 pounds, and it was like balanced on like 2 other pieces of like thin metal up in the air. And a Mexican guy with not harnessed in or anything was like standing there. He was like 3 stories high. And this thing there was nothing like, it wasn't bolted in. Like it could have just like fallen easily. But anyway, so that's a precarious. I don't like that situation. But I will say I marvel that these guys do that job.
I know. I mean, I know
it's
it sounded
ridiculous.
racist in your generalization about the workers, but I will say in this environment,
there are Mexican, I think.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know what Trump is thinking. In New York City, like Central and South Americans do the toughest jobs, and all over the city.
100%. Look. I mean, I think the scaffolding thing is a joke. Is ridiculous that there's this much gap, but I hope they have a good fucking lobby because they're not gonna have any workers pretty soon.
I know.
I mean, they literally, who is gonna go? That's insane. That job.
I know.
And next is the kitchen.
I know. It's all the jobs that Americans don't want. That's why you have immigration. So, well, calling back to the conspiracy though.
Right.
I think that I feel like if you went to Germany and there was like a major highway project, like, don't you think, not to racially, generalize, but I feel like it would be very efficient.
Well, that's the reputation.
Yeah, and there would be no waste.
They made all those camps real fast a long time ago.
Well, that's the flip side to when when you apply your determination and grit and militaristic sense of efficiency, when you apply it in the right way towards public works and not towards death camps, then I think that's something to be proud of.
Yeah. If you eliminate the anti-Semitic hate et cetera in that soup.
Yeah.
But the efficiency for sure. That's the thing, I guess. I don't get like a feeling of efficiency here.
I know.
I
feel things, I look at things in like the last time you think that America was efficient and hardworking was when you see the videos of the New Deal and the FDR and the building of the Hoover Dam and all that, right?
Like, here's something that I don't think would happen in Germany.
What?
The other day I noticed in the Post, they had, this problem with people jumping the turnstiles in the subway.
Yeah, I witnessed that the other day.
Yeah. First of all, I pay for the subway. I feel like a sucker because a lot of people don't, and I witness it all the time.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the city, this is akin to, remember we talked about the garbage can, the pizza-shaped garbage can or something? Yep. This is a similar kind of invention that someone deep in the bowels of the city government thought up. Mm-hmm. It's a metal, like a thin, I don't know how to describe this. It looks like, you take a cardboard box.
Yeah.
It was just like a piece of flat cardboard, not a box, like but imagine that, but a sheet of metal.
Okay.
With like kind of sharp spikes on top.
A serrated edge.
But a little more than just kind of sharp, not like razor sharp.
Yeah.
And they take that and I guess they welded it onto the side
of the
turnstile. So when you jump, I guess they noticed that the way to do it is you put your hands down and you vault your body over the turnstile. So the only thing to hold on to now is something that has spikes on it. Uh-huh. So a thin metal sheet that has spikes on it. And I guess they thought no one's going to do this now.
Yeah.
Of course, I saw in the Post. Yeah. It was like they just had videos.
It's it's like a mild deterrent. It's like it deters the laziest of turnstile jumpers. I know.
I mean, people immediately were just like, no problem.
Yeah.
I feel like that would not happen in Germany.
Oh, the turnstile jumping?
No, that remedy. Maybe no turnstile jumping, but also
I would think that in Germany there'd actually be very little turnstile jumping.
Yeah, but if they did. They would figure something else besides this sheet of metal.
Yes.
With the spikes on it.
Yes.
Which doesn't work.
I agree with you, yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, the Germans, if we let them run too many things. I feel like, in last century, and I know we're in a new century, but I feel the two countries that did the worst were the Japanese and the Germans.
Okay? Yes.
So, I feel like... they're both very efficient and sneaky.
Yeah.
We should, You know what? Trump is focused on China. Let's keep our eye on Japan and Germany.
Okay.
Let's not forget. I mean, you and I, we were at Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
And we jumped on the machine guns.
I know. And when you take your eye off the ball for too long, bad things can happen.
We're a hard right podcast, but we're not anti-China. We are all about let's keep an eye on those sneaky Japanese and those expansionist Germans. Okay?
Good idea.
Good. Okay.
got your picture, I got your picture. I'd like 1 million of you over my cell. I want a doctor to take a picture so I can look at you from inside as well. You got me turning up and turning down, I'm turning in, I'm turning right, I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. I got your picture, I got your picture. I'd like 1 million of them around myself.
Now we really got to take it home.
Okay. This is like the Metro edition.
I know. Well, this is ostensibly a podcast about New York City. So
true.
we veer into mental health
and revenge on authors.
and conspiracy theories
Yeah.
and racial generalizations.
Yes, and cooking.
Yeah. And hard-hitting right-wing journalism.
But the thing we were just discussing off air in the green room,
Yes.
with our bowl of Skittles,
With no purple Skittles.
was what is the mayor race, the mayoral situation here?
It is messed up. We have a felon, basically a felon who's running the city right now.
I voted for him, I have to say.
Okay. And
Did you vote in the city?
No. I was registered outside, but
Yeah.
to anybody from the IRS that's listening now, I have changed my primary residence back to New York City for various reasons,
Yeah.
and you can't, and so that's official as of January 1, 2025.
Okay, it's on the record.
It's on the record.
But yes, so we have this Eric Adams fellow.
Yes.
Really, I'm not impressed so far with his tenure.
No. We're jackass city.
And so that leaves us with, and I literally did no research on this, but a handful of others.
Oh, God. Yeah. Eric Adams is a buffoon. Buffoon is the best word to describe him.
More or less than de Blasio, would you say? Or just a different kind of
De Blasio
buffoon?
is just a guy everybody wanted to punch in the face. I could not. How can you be a guy that can alienate blacks and whites equally? You know?
Yeah.
That was de Blasio.
Yeah.
And he thought he was like some sort of philosopher king.
Right.
And like as I've said repeatedly, we just need a manager, a technocrat. Okay?
Not a visionary.
We don't need a visionary, okay? It's so depressing because I can't even read the articles now because it's just a list of just a bunch of losers.
Yeah, it's yeah. Well, I know that this Scott Stringer fellow who has run multiple times, I believe.
Yeah.
Was he the
He's the comptroller?
Is he the comptroller?
Yeah.
So I know he's running again.
You know what? That's the only half decent one in my mind because he's just a guy. He'll, fiscal responsibility.
Yeah. So just a money guy.
Yeah.
Keep things orderly
and try to keep the racist cops in check. There's only so much you can do. The NYPD is they do their own thing. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's I guess Andrew Cuomo. Supposedly is
he's
contemplating.
Yeah. He's got some sexual related accusations. I don't know the full thing. It's not that I believe the victim and all that, but I'm just, I can't, it's so depressing to just see these same retread names coming through the cycle.
What about, I just told you that there's a socialist in Queens or Brooklyn, I believe. And I don't remember his name.
Again, we're left leaning.
Yeah.
But come on, man. The guy puts socialist New York City in charge of that budget. This is going to end up like Mayor Lindsay. And shout out, going way back, okay? Like it's going to be the fiscal nightmare.
Yeah. So those are the only candidates that I am aware of.
Okay.
Unless we declare ourselves.
Phil and Bob.
A dual mayorship?
Yeah, a dual mayorship. We'll start out a partnership, but then slowly the power will become intoxicating. we'll try to stab each other in the back.
But so that's the mayor. Yeah, that's the situation.
I know. When I see those articles, I mean anything about the election or whatever. I skimmed the headline. I can't read for now. It just, I don't have the energy for it.
Yeah, I feel like these times call for an extraordinary leader.
I know. Who's it going to? A strong man. Giuliani's kid. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, he's seriously going to run, I think. And then we're going to have
that's true.
Cuomo. Eric Adams is going to get a pardon from Trump.
Yeah.
And he's going to run again.
Yeah.
I know. We just need a miracle.
Well, I told you that I just said that I heard Anthony Weiner. He's running for...
Oh, and then another guy with sex problems, like real sex problems. Like that's what it's literally. Cuomo, sex problems. Weiner, sex problems.
Yeah.
Cuomo didn't go to jail, right? It was just a private accusation that sounded very credible.
I think he was more or less forced to resign.
Yeah, I mean, he resigned. So it was credible enough that he resigned from being governor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he didn't go to prison.
He didn't go to prison. Weiner went to prison. Okay.
I just told you I heard him on a podcast discussing his going to prison, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so he's running for, apparently he may be running for the city council.
Oh God.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's sad. This is our cast of characters that we have. This is why, I mean, maybe democracy is broken. Maybe we need an autocrat. Maybe we need a tyrant to get the ship in order.
Okay.
Yeah.
If anybody's out there.
If you're listening, Batman, Gotham City could use a hero right now.
Yes. All right. I guess that's it. Anything else
Nah.
to go over?
I'm going to go to the HMart.
Okay. Yeah. It's efficient and clean there.
Yep.
As opposed to the city.
Go Korea.
Yeah.
Well, that's the show, folks. Our theme song was performed by Echo Strada. He's an incredible Brooklyn-based artist creating psychedelic alternative music. Check him out on Spotify, Apple Music, and iTunes.
Central Park trees covered in snow. Over the Hudson, the sunset glow. The smell of halal and jasmine rice. A creep on the corner, don't look so nice. Now he's pooping, why I don't know. Life's full of mysteries, now it's time for the show.
That was fucking awesome!
That was all right.
Yes!